around trust, really.
Absolutely, absolute trust. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so, you know, I'm so grateful to have a situation where I'm working with someone. It is a dream come true in a way. You know, you're working, you're collaborating with someone, you know, you're pushing each other, you're sort of challenging each other, and it coming off. I mean, you know, it's wonderful. I mean, again, I was a bit naive. I thought every actor was like Michael. I thought, okay, you do that. You know, when my first movie, I thought, no, but they're not. He's exceptional, and I think, you know, I think within the work, he just sort of transforms and transcends, in some ways, the character. He can actually embed himself into Brandon Sullivan, and then come out, have a cigarette, and start talking to hair and makeup. He has that chameleon sort of thing, and it's not put on, it's not false. He's a working, hard-working actor, in a real sense. I don't think he'll ever, you know, I mean, you know, ever be a certain kind of, you know, certain kind of Hollywood actor, because he's just too good. Meaning that he possibly could be in big movies, as you said, but he is just amazing. Going on, I'm sorry, you're here. But
Right here.
But there is a quality to him which is just incredible. I believe him. Because, you know, again, this is a situation where he's a man. He's a man's man to a certain extent. But there's such much of femininity in him, such fragility in him, which he doesn't like. He shows, meaning that I can see myself in him, and other people can see himself in him. You know, he's not this macho guy. There's a beautifulness to him, a femininity to him, which can actually not feel that you can't sort of involve yourself or invest yourself with him. So that for me is a huge plus, because the audience then are very much sort of want to embrace him anyway.
But you know, it's all down to sort of the environment that you create as well. And I think the first thing that sort of struck me when I met Steve is this idea that he's a very honest person and open. So it's all right to, you know, be vulnerable, and it's all right to be insecure or feminine or, you know, nerdish, all the things that perhaps we try and sort of disguise because we're afraid of ridicule or whatever it is, you know, not being accepted. You know, these are all things that I think we can all relate to, and you know, and Steve is sort of very much an open book, but that's with the entire crew. You know, when we were working in Belfast on Hunger, I thought, okay, wow, I come to work and you see the passion on the art department's face, or, you know, any department you like, and I was like, wow, this is pretty, you know, palpable and powerful stuff. And you know, but then of course we were dealing with the topic matter that was very, you know, personal to people that were working on it. So when we went to New York, I was curious to see, and exactly the same thing happened on that set. And you know, you're talking about people that have been, you know, working in the business for 30 years. You know, I remember, you know, Joe the Grip was like saying to me, you know, I don't want to let, you know, Sean or Steve down. He's been in the business for 35 years, and believe you me, he's not getting paid a lot of money to do Shane. But you know, it's that passion, because Steve's a very inclusive person. Everybody believes, you know, right down to catering, that they're part of something together. So then you have a force that's collectively really, really effective and powerful, and we work fast.
Michael, when you first read the script, what was it that kind of jumped out at you about this character?
I felt for him, you know. I felt I really liked him, and I thought it was a beautiful sort of insight into something that I didn't have really any knowledge about. You know, at the beginning you say sex addiction, and you're thinking, oh yeah, you know, do you take it seriously? Well, I didn't really, and then you start to investigate, and then you start to meet people, and you realize, you know, just how devastating and real it is. And the thing that struck me was how, you know, Abby and Steve had created these characters that I really cared about, and I thought it was beautiful and thoughtful. I mean, like we said before, I had already sort of, you know, committed. I was willing to do it anyway without having the need to see a script. Just because I know, you know, Steve is going to be sort of, you know, on the ball there, and you know, it's going to be dealt with in the most respectful way, and you know, in a lot of ways uncompromising in the right places.
And Brandon's a character whose life really depends on the secrets that he keeps. What did you learn about yourself while you were kind of playing that character?
I learned that you know, I feel lucky, I suppose, that, you know, I have a healthy relationship to sex, and you know, and also just relationships in general. I think, you know, I feel like I suppose I'm a pretty open person, you know, and I enjoy the sort of intimacy of relationships, and I feel very blessed that, you know, whether that's you know, down to sort of, you know, the family that I sort of grew up with, you know, my parents and my sister. You know, they've given me an awful lot of grounding and that sort of nurturing. I experienced it. And, you know, Brandon is so sort of, I mean, it's dark, you know, it was very sort of exhausting. This job was definitely the hardest because, you know, you have somebody who just doesn't like himself in a very deep way and then goes about sort of abusing himself because of it. So that's what, you know, you take from it. You feel lucky.
Steve, I think you have a wonderful eye for detail, and in the movie, a lot is done with very little dialogue, a lot like Hunger, and it's just, you frame shots wonderfully. Even though they're tragic, they look like visual poetry. So was it the intent to convey everything with just the imagery and, you know, hold back on the dialogue and screenplay?
To some extent, I think, you know, you most of the time in life, you know, I don't think we actually use language to sort of tell each other truths. Often I think we use language to sort of, you know, fill time, avoid, or to sort of just sort of, you know, I want, I need, in that way. I wanted to be honest and truthful to this character within a reality of now, meaning that in movies often there's a time people talk about their history and their past and where they come from, how old they are, and so forth. And in reality, that just never happens. I like the idea that the audience are introduced to Brandon as you are introduced to me, or I introduced to you now. We don't know each other, but during the course of an hour and a half, we get to know a little bit about your past, but within the present. And of course, that takes extraordinary actors to convey that. It takes an extraordinary cameraman, Sean Bobbitt, to sort of portray that too. And myself and Sean just start to talk about ritual, start to talk about, you know, someone gets up in the morning, wipes sleep out their eye, they're sitting there, lying there for 5 minutes, then they go to the bathroom, they take a shower, they go on the subway, they go to work. There's simple sort of movements like that could say a lot, because also the first 8 minutes of the movie is about motion. It's an arrow that just says go. You know, he lies in bed, and then the whole thing is moving. The train's moving, he's moving. The music's on some sort of a trajectory. We're getting to know Brandon and what he does in 8 minutes, 8.5 minutes. You know, with the prostitute and, you know, the woman on the train and the work. And so it's in the first 8.5 minutes we get everything, and this is all virtually silent. I think it's just a wonderful situation when you could, as an audience, be an observer, and then, but at the same time, being enriched by all this information, you take it on board. You have your understanding of it, because, you know, audiences are not stupid, and I think a lot of time, as an audience member myself, I'm sitting in the cinema, and it's almost like the filmmakers are treating us like idiots, telling us this and telling us that, when actually we can actually see and hear, and we can bring our history and our knowledge into the cinema and have